I'm still levitating.
Yes.
Just full-blown ascent to heaven during that game on Saturday.
All right.
I'm not talking about the women's soccer game, by the way. That was awesome, too. Hung out at my parents' house, woke up early, got over there just in time for kickoff, and enjoyed U.S. women's soccer's 1-0 win over Brazil to secure a gold medal, one of the 40 Team USA won at the Olympics. But then we got to 12:30 in the United States and France. And not only was that just a terrific basketball game, but having the game we watched here, the USA-Serbia game, where Steph kind of went nuclear, particularly in the first half, and hit the 9 threes in the game and helped them put Serbia away, hit the go-ahead 3 in the fourth quarter. That was great. That was such a fun time. But then having it happen again in the gold medal game with the 4 threes in the final 2:48 or whatever it was, I ascended. I peaked. It was incredible. It was amazing.
I think the cool thing about the Olympics is like you have to put your personal fandom aside.
Yeah.
And cheer for something much bigger.
Yes.
Right. So that's what everybody understands. It's the Olympics, whether you watch gymnastics ever outside of the Olympics or not, or swimming or jujitsu or ping pong, whatever. Like during the Olympics, you get behind your team, right? And so I think it was cool to allow fans to have Steph Curry be one of their guys.
Yes.
Just for a few minutes.
Yes.
And then you can go back to your regular scheduled programming.
Right. We got regular season coming up in 2 months.
Yeah, but for a weekend or for 2 weeks, you got to really just like go, oh my gosh, look how good he is.
Yeah.
He's so much fun to watch. He's so incredible. And for that matter, you get to do the same thing with Victor Wembanyama.
Yes.
You get to do the same thing with Nikola Jokic. You, like whoever that player was that like caught your eye during the Olympics, but watching the greatness of Steph Curry is such a privilege.
It was so cool. I mean, just to piggyback off what you're saying, I want to put a pin in the Steph thing for a second. But I'm not a LeBron guy. I don't dislike, I don't try and tarnish his legacy or anything like that. But I don't like root for the guy. But these Olympics had me doing the like, yes, let's go, King. Let's go, King. I'm like, what is that? What do I don't care. I'm out there, clapping for Devin Booker's awesome defense. Like, what a weird thing. It's insane.
Weird.
Totally odd. But Steph doing what he did at the end of that game was not, it was cool for me. We talked so much about sports moments, right? And it was cool for me seeing him do that in a Team USA jersey, right?
Yeah.
But that's something, if you're a Warriors fan, you've seen him do not that exact thing necessarily. Raymond Ritter, the great PR guy for the Warriors, actually tweeted out he's done that exact thing, 4 threes in X amount of time, whatever the stat was. He's done it one time before, but the ridiculous shot making and the just flurry and him getting hot, like that wasn't new. But getting to enjoy it with other people who don't usually get to enjoy it in that way, or I mean, people appreciate him, right? I think any Kings fan who hates Steph also understands how good he is. Like nobody's saying he stinks.
Yeah.
But you've never gotten to root for the shot to go in. And seeing everybody get to do that and experience it in that way for the first time.
Yeah, spectacular.
It was so cool. It was so fun just scrolling the internet and watching people who I know don't root for the guy posting highlights and doing the night thing. And it was just, oh God, what a freaking moment. Here, here's what I got here early today just to do this.
Curry, jab, triple, he sticks it!
Steph, say calm down, everybody.
Let's cut him off.
Curry, step back, pump, Curry, ridiculous!
That's unfair.
Steph Curry, hit Curry again. You already know. Curry dancing on Batum over the double team. Oh! It's a golden dagger.
Noah Eagle and Dwayne Wade were awesome.
Yeah.
The entire tournament.
Oh yeah.
They were so good. And the coolest thing about those highlights and that sound is that arena is in France. They're playing against France. And early on in the game, you could tell there were some Team USA fans in there, but it's probably a lot of Team USA, a ton of France, and then a lot of people who are just kind of neutral.
Yeah.
And listening as each one of those went in, the louder and louder the crowd got. Oh, that was a moment for me. I cried.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I'll admit it.
That was incredible. It was. I mean, and the crowd again. That was pretty much a French crowd.
Yeah, it was like a home game for France.
Yeah, but still, to be able to witness something like that, I think it is. It's a lot like watching like Simone Biles, right?
Yes.
Like there's something so special about what she's doing, and it doesn't matter where you're from. When you watch her like on the floor exercise, and all of a sudden she's like 8 feet off the ground doing like multiple flips, and you're like, how in the world is that even happening? And then the next person hops on the, on the giant mat, and you're like, oh no, I want to watch the other thing.
Yeah, like this is fine, but
the other girl, but bring her back. Can she go again? Because I want to see that again.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you start to get with a guy like Steph. He elevated himself to the gold standard on the highest stage of the Olympics. And that's not easy to do. It's like again, the 100-meter. It's like the floor exercise or whatever it is that you just can't wait to watch. Like, I don't know if you watched any of the diving, I
watched zero diving.
The Chinese divers like have figured out a way to like eliminate the splash.
Oh,
it's the most insane thing you've ever seen.
So aesthetically pleasing.
You're like, what in the world? Like, you're normally like, oh, that splash is too big. Like, we're all all like stupid, ridiculous amateur judges for the Olympics. Like, oh no, it's a huge splash, total over rotation. And then you watch the tandem when they had the two divers together, like watching two people go in the water right next to each other in zero splash. The whole time you're thinking, I just want a cannonball, because that doesn't look right. Like, but they like figured out some sort of aerodynamicy or some way of like physics to have like so much force going down to the water that it pulls the water back down.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're doing it.
It's incredible.
But I'm here for it. And then, but just once every 4 years. Like, I'm not here for it. Like,
I don't need the professional diving league.
If the world championship is 3 weeks from now, I am not watching it.
Not happening.
I just watched this one, and it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I was really, really thoroughly enjoyed the Olympics.
Yes.
And I just to stick with the men's basketball stuff, we talked so much about the passing of the torch this year, right? How it felt like, man, the Stephs, LeBron, KD, that generation is aging out, and you actively see the Luka, the Anthony Edwards, you see that generation pushing itself forward. The Chet Holmgrens, the Victor Wembanyama's, you see that generation coming. This gold medal game on Saturday, to me, getting away from the Steph Curry of it all, was a really, I think, important or special moment in basketball history. Because it was Steph and LeBron and KD on the same team together. But maybe the last time those guys are ever on a stage like that, where that was for all the marbles. That was the gold medal game against France in France. Kevin Durant and LeBron James and Steph Curry, I think, will play in playoff games again. But I don't know, as centerpieces of their respective teams, if they'll ever go to a championship again and be playing in a game 7 ostensibly for an NBA title, and certainly not doing it all on the same team.
Yeah.
And I think the way we kind of the way we hold up the dream team as a kind of standard of basketball excellence, I don't know that the 2024 team will ever be looked at the same way, but I think that trio and this tournament and that game against France and the comeback against Serbia, I think will be looked at down the road as a like seminal basketball moment.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talk about like handing the torch off, and you kind of feel like it was LeBron, KD, and Steph just holding the torch up, the three of them together. And it's like, we're not ready to hand it off yet, but when we're done, when this is over, it's probably, you just got to see the end. Like, this is, for basketball purposes, it might be the end of their true story
Mhm.
as like the superstars of the game. They'll still have like a little,
No doubt.
like prologue,
Yes.
but the prologue will just be about how their careers ended,
Mhm.
not about championships or anything else like what you're saying. So
Yeah.
I like it was beautiful to watch, and like the shots that have come out of that, the photos,
Oh my God.
the Victor Wembanyama trying to swat Steph Curry is one of the craziest things. It's literally just wild to see that picture.
That play in general.
Oh yeah.
Like let's take that still photo. Okay. That was Steph catching in the corner and the quick release, right? Just to get that shot off and over Wembanyama
Mhm.
was incredible. That it hit the rim with enough touch to fall through, ridiculous. But then that still shot, and Vic being as big as he is, as high off the ground as he was, like this isn't a 7'4" guy who jumps 9 inches.
No.
Like this is a 7'4" guy with a vert, and just the pose he's in.
Yeah.
And Steph with you can tell he just, because it's not the full fall through. His hand is like down here because he just threw it up.
Yeah.
It just, that picture is incredible. There are maybe 5 photos from that game that are going to go down as just all-time iconic sports photos.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, Steph clearly scouted, because we watched the game before where France beat Germany,
Mhm.
and Dennis Schroeder just got stuffed he got swatted on a
Dennis
3-point attempt where Victor Wembanyama really wasn't even in the picture, and then all of a sudden he blocked the
It
ball.
was insane. He had no business getting anywhere close.
Yeah.
He did that. So Steph always does he did it a couple times at the end of the fourth quarter, where he does the pump fake and then like pulls the ball back through and then sidesteps and goes. He got Wembanyama on that pump fake, and usually on that pump fake, he pulls the ball around and he gets a shot off.
Mhm.
And I don't. This is anecdotal. I swear to God, he shoots 98% on those. It's like he never misses when he gets to pump it. But Wembanyama, who at times in that game with Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Rudy Gobert,
Anthony Davis,
Bam Adebayo, like pick a superstar that played in that game. Jason Tatum, pick Victor Wembanyama was in stretches the best player on the court, which is asinine. But Steph gets him on the pump fake, and he is so large that he flew by and had enough reach to still contest and force him to pass. What is that? It didn't make any sense.
It's absolutely remarkable. I can't wait to see what he looks like in 2 years.
Oh my!
Really? And then I hope that they don't let him stay lean. Let him stay like Durant. So we still get to see, who cares if he gets pushed around here and there in the low block? I don't care. There's going to be so many other times where he blocks a shot that you had no idea, or he goes up and over the top of somebody for a jump hook or whatever. Don't bulk him up at all. Let him stay this fluid athlete, like a Kevin Durant, that can do anything on the court. So I can't wait to see what he looks like down the road. Did you see the scene where his shoe came off?
Yes.
And then he's sitting there. It literally, his foot is like this big.
It is ridiculous.
You're like, what in the world is going on there?
Outrageous.
Yes. Yeah.
He just, and that's to your point about him bulking up. And I know we talk about Victor Wembanyama a lot, and Victor Wembanyama is good, is not necessarily an original take, but I just don't want to lose sight of it. I don't want to lose sight of what direction this kid is heading, because all of this promise of him as a prospect, it looks like it's playing out, which is remarkable, right? And to your point about him bulking up, I think I totally agree with you. He's going to put on natural muscle as he ages. He turned 20 this year. He's not 21 until January.
That's wild.
So he's going to put on natural muscle, right? Just from playing and being in an NBA workout program. But I'm with you, man, because even if you're going to knock him off his spot, he's not 6'11", where if you knock him off his spot, there's another 6'11" guy who's going to go up over the top. He is so massive that, okay, you knock him off his spot a little bit, and he's still going to have the recovery, quickness, and size to affect the shot. So I'm with you, man. That was the non-USA takeaway for me there. As good as Gershon Yabusele was, and we can talk about him too, Wembanyama looking not only like he belonged on the court with those guys being Team USA, but looking at times like they didn't have an answer for him.
Oh yeah,
was jarring.
I think the entire league is looking at that and going, like, how are we going to defend him? Like, again, this happens on occasion where someone comes onto the scene and you're like, we don't know what to do with him. Like I look, I watch a lot of EPL. I watch a lot of, European soccer, and Man City has Holland. Yeah, there we go.
Erling Haaland, yeah.
Yeah, Holland. Well, I'm a Man U guy, so they have Hoyland. So Holland and Hoyland.
Of course. Yeah.
So, but there's like for a 2-year stretch, no one can stop him. He's like 6'5" and built like a Mack truck and runs like a 4.340 and just busts through everybody and has incredible footwork, incredible touch. And so you're sitting there going like, how in the world are they going to stop him? And then you see some teams, there are guys who pop up and have 30 goals and then they don't ever have 30 goals again, right? Like almost like 40 home run guys that hit 40 and then they never come back around and hit 40 ever again.
Salute to Brady Anderson.
Yeah, I think he hit 50, right?
56.
Yeah.
56?
50. I think it broke
fact
50.
Check. Someone fact check that.
Yeah. So
50-ish.
But watching like somebody who like all of a sudden the other team is game planning their entire, like, how in the world are we going to stop him? They're going out and getting transfers for 6'5", 6'6" guys that are strong enough to hang with him and fast enough to maybe hang with him.
Yeah.
So that's where I think we're going to get with Wembanyama, where it's like everybody's going to be searching. Like, that's why I think OKC is so far ahead of the curve with most of these teams, because they already have Chet. But like all the other teams are going to have to line up and say, like, what are we going to do? Like, again, the Sacramento Kings, what are they going to do with Victor Wembanyama?
No idea.
And Sabonis is going to bully him still for a couple of years and push him around and do all that stuff. But like, how are you going to deal with him as on the other end of the court? Like, how are you going to function when this dude who's 7'4" that can do anything on the court? It's going to be really wild.
The thing that scares me the most about Victor Wembanyama as an NBA player, as somebody who is not a San Antonio Spurs fan, this would be thrilling if you're a Spurs fan. But if you're a Kings fan and you're kind of taking a look at what the next 3 or 4 years of the West looks like, the fact that all the quotes that came out from Victor Wembanyama this year about, I don't care about my number. I came here to win and we're not winning.
Yeah.
And then he's crying after the gold medal game. I am not if an athlete is crying because they lost, that is a check mark in the pro column for me. That you're taking it that personally matters to me.
Oh yeah.
And that it's like, dude, he's going to take this so personal. And he's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
He's big, but he's hyper competitive and he's all about winning. I think he's a leader that people are gonna follow. The Spurs are gonna be a problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of Tim Duncan in his personality.
Ooh, yeah,
there's a lot of that, but then just like with this incredible like length and athleticism that we've never seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Gershon Yabusele? We had a huge game. Dude, that dunk on LeBron was nuts.
Sign him up. Like, go get him. Go get him. And I, like, there's no way for the Kings to go get him. But he has a $2.5 million player option. Let me think. He has a $2.5 million buyout for Real Madrid.
Okay.
So he could leave and go to the NBA. It was only $1 million if NBA teams knew anything about him before July 15th. Which, of course, he did play in the NBA. He was a top 15 or 16 pick.
Yeah, 16, I think, by the Celtics.
Celtics, yeah. In the 2017 draft, I think it was.
Something like that.
Yeah, kind of hidden right there by around the Harry Giles, Justin Jackson, John Collins area in the draft. Yeah, like he's the type of guy that should have a place in the NBA. You know, he doesn't have like the extreme. Well, maybe he does have some of the Montrezl Harrell leaping ability, but he's just built, you know, like just a dude that you really could see having some success. And maybe that success is fine for him in Europe. But as opposed to like a Sasha Vezenkov, who's like running amok in the European game, floating around the outside and hitting threes. He's a guy that I think could mix it up and give you a different look at the NBA level. Yeah, so he's fun, and we saw him before. I think there are a handful of guys that stood out that really, like, if they wanted to have an NBA window, that really stood out and said, look, I can still play, or I was left behind, or I've developed, whatever it might be. So I'm kind of like, the Olympics, I think, was a really cool showcase for a lot of these players.
Yeah.
That again, Lesor for France.
Yeah. You said the Knicks have his rights?
The Knicks have his rights, and I guess they had talked early in the summer about potentially bringing him over, but it didn't go anywhere. He wanted too much money or something. And now it's like, okay, well, he's worth a lot more than he was before. So, and the Knicks have no money, so it's tough. Yeah, like a $2.5 million buyout. Like, again, that would be tough for almost any NBA team because, for any team that's up against the cap. So, because you can't, like, unless you have cap space, you can't go sign him.
Right.
So
I'd be interested to see how teams evaluate the Olympics, because it's FIBA rules, which changes things a little bit, which is what they're playing for Real Madrid or whatever European team they're playing for. I'd be interested to know how teams evaluate that, because I saw that Yabusele shot like 44% on 2.5 threes a game last year, but it's the different ball and it's the closer 3-point line. How do they stack that? Because that would be a huge key, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to sign Gershon Yabusele, it's with the idea that, he's going to have to stretch the floor a little bit because it's 2024, not 2004. You can't just park his ass in the paint and tell him to go to work.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to know how teams go about evaluating that, because I don't know how you watch him against Team USA and go, that guy can't play in the NBA.
Well, I think that's the key. You roll the ball out there and say, okay, let's see what it looks like against Team USA. And you're like, oh, okay, he's hanging tough. And that's why, like, again, we joke around about Bruno Caboclo. Man, he held up against Team USA. Not only did he drop 33 and 18 on some other team right before they played.
Japan, I think.
Yeah, but then he walks in and he put up 30 and 6. You're like, okay, he shoots the 3. Okay. You start checking the boxes. You're like, okay, maybe it does translate now, or it didn't translate so many other times. And I think that's what you're looking at for a bunch of these players. I don't know that, again, that we're going to see any of them jump to the NBA and be like, okay, I'm here. Like, that was fun. I showed you what I could do at the Olympics, but now let's, somebody sign me.
Well, and to do that, you have to, like, commit money to them. Yabusele is not going to come over here on a training camp non-guaranteed deal.
Yeah, and a team can only put up, it's probably close to $1 million now at this point to match to for the buyout. So again, if Yabusele, right? Yeah, if he's got like 3 or 4 years of NBA experience, right? Before he went back. So he would get paid at, like, just a minimum scale. He would get paid like maybe 2.5, 2.6 million. And then a team can pay $1 million to help him buy out. But that would mean he'd only make $1 million here in the US to play basketball for a year if he was making a league minimum, because like 1.5 of his money and $1 million of the team's money is going to buy him out of his contract. And so he would have to get like a $4 or $5 million deal for it to truly make sense.
Yeah, and teams aren't gonna. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah,
is teams aren't without that guarantee of knowing that, because they've seen him in the NBA and it didn't go great.
No,
with Bruno Caboclo
didn't go well at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So are they? That's where I want to know. Are they looking at those players and evaluating against their previous NBA tape?
Yeah.
Or are they saying, it's kind of the same player. He's gotten a little bigger or a little stronger, and he's thriving under FIBA rules, but we think he's largely going to be the same guy in the NBA that he was? Or is it, like you just said with Caboclo, people going, hey, 2 years away from 2 years away, it's now.
Yeah, finally arrived.
Turn the corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see if any teams take advantage of that with after the Olympics.
I think it speaks to a larger conversation, though, about how the world is catching up to the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it, like, again, it's how many players are what was it, 61 players?
Yeah, something like that.
NBA players were in the Olympics.
Compared to 9 in 1992.
Yeah, and it's not just that, but it's how many players we talked about this other like 8 to 10 players that you look at who don't play in the NBA, who could play in the NBA. So you're looking at just like the swath of talent like around the world is tremendous. And yeah, I think it like whether it's next 4 years from now or whether it's 8 years or 12 years from now, like Team USA is going to legitimately get beat for a gold medal.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who they send. They're going to get beat by a team that just, number one, spends more time together, but number two, has the talent level. And I think it's only a matter of time.
The Team USA, right, used to have in 1992, they had the peak, but then they also had just an insane amount of depth on against every other team. But now it feels like that depth, that gap has closed significantly. And the thing that keeps Team USA separated right now, the reason they've won 5 straight gold medals, is because of the peak guys.
Yes.
Because they've had Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and Kevin Durant and now Stephen Curry. Those are the guys that, hey, you know what? Game's on the line. Olympic Melo is gonna bail him out, or LeBron is gonna bail him out, or Steph is gonna bail him out. And there's no team that has enough guys to kind of withstand that.
Yep.
But I'm with you. It is very, very close. It's all trending the right direction for the rest of the world for sure.
Yeah, look at Canada, and I think Canada is going to be one of those teams that right now they look like if you go out and play softball, you get a bunch of young guys, a bunch of 20-something-year-old guys who think they're going to go out and beat everybody, and then they just get cooked by a bunch of old dudes who hit singles all over the field.
Yep.
That's what Canada feels like. They feel like the young team that just doesn't know how to get there yet.
Yep.
But give them 4 years, give them 8 years, and that team is going to be so good, so dominant.
Yeah. Yeah. France is heading that way. And Germany's been really, really good.
Yeah.
Serbia's really, really good. There's I don't think Spain is down for the count forever.
No.
The rest of the world is hooping. And I think you saw the same thing in the women's gold medal game where France gave Team USA all they could handle. And the US pulls out that 67-66 win. But a couple years ago, that would have seemed unfathomable, right?
Like
a
2 weeks ago.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Team hanging with Team USA.